one need to understand that empires do rise and decline, and that's the nature of empires. The US has had a very much strong position geopolitically because of being the reserve dollar and being the reserve currency. Approximately 70% of US dollar doesn't circulate in the US economies outside
Yeah.
and central bank balance sheet. Obviously, persons are gonna move away if it's a depreciation in the US dollar. And the US dollar will depreciate because it's the nature of fiat currency. That being said, everything is incumbent upon the natural conditions of whether or not the US is losing its supremacy in the global trade. The dollar is still the world reserve currency, is still the most traded currency in commodities. While we see the Chinese, remember, is taking a more strategic growth for investors who are trading with China. It hasn't overtaken the dollar as yet. But great nations do decline because of debt. And that's what the problem that the US is in. The debt is growing faster than the income of the central government. And as such, the government has very much been dependent upon more debt being issued to the public to pay its debt. And that's a very, very bad position to be in. And strategically, it's bad for the US, especially for development of a new AI race, um, ensuring that there's productivity and persons are able to move up in the middle class. The American society doesn't have a middle class now. It's harder for anyone to rise in the middle class in the US right now than any other time in history. And we're not talking about like Jamaica, who we know is a third world country. It's very much improbable for most
Hmm.
persons to ride up to the rich class. So yes, it is in a very bad position. The US is in a very bad position. However, I hope it is resolved because we are very much dependent upon the US, and the US won't take a decline like other nations. There will be wars, and the wars won't
Yeah.
be a good one because you have nuclear power, nuclear armed country falling. We don't know how the US is gonna take that. If it's gonna take it easy, like how the British has took it, because the British was great as the US. The Roman Empire was as well great. Being a royal reserve currency, you're able to monetize your debt in your own currency, and that comes with a lot of leverage. It's not like the US is dependent up on other nations to devalue their currencies to pay in dollars, like what we see happen to Turkey and other countries, the Argentina bonds, where they had to convert their currency into US dollars to pay their debt. So being the royal reserve currency, you can print in your own currency and pay your debt, but that comes with the natural course of a depreciation in dollar.
But yeah, that's what I'm privy to that. That no, but how long can they do that though? How long can they borrow? That's the question.
Once US remain the global geopolitical stronghold, they are able to do
And
that.
mhm.
Japan has increased its debt by 200%. If anyone would have told on one of the macroeconomists that hey, Japan would be able to do that and sustain it over a long period, no one could believe that. And that's because of their inflection point within their population. The pyramid actually turned upside down. So they have more seniority. Like, they have more senior citizens that they had to be taken care of. And that caused them to increase their debt. A lot of countries are going the same trajectory. Even the US, they're having low birth rate. Those are some demographic factors as well that can cause a country to increase its debt and then therefore increase its exposure to long-term currency devaluation.